So it wasn't that long ago when TISSOT announced the PRX Chronograph, and a lot of people went crazy when they first saw the watch. I was one of them. I made a video about it immediately, a news video informing everyone about this new chronograph. I think it is gorgeous and I'm really excited to show it to you guys. I have one lent into the channel. I also have another PRX to show you guys. That is the Powermatic 80 with the blue dial, sort of do a little bit of a comparison between the two. So let's flip the camera and take a look at the new PRX Chronograph from TISSOT. So a pair of beautiful blue dialed integrated bracelet sport watches to show you guys today, both from TISSOT. We have the Powermatic 80 version of the PRX in my right hand, lent into the channel by my good friend Tyler. Shout out to him. And then of course, Rock the Watch lent me this watch right here. That is the chronograph version of the PRX. Definitely check out his channel. I would put a link to his channel down in the description below. He reviews some great watches. He has a great collection, so definitely check out his channel if you are not familiar with it. So both of these are blue dial. You get the hobnail dial on the Powermatic 80. They did a really great job on this watch. $650 gets you an incredibly well-made watch that is really good looking and a great everyday sort of do everything, go everywhere watch. It really is awesome. And then they came out with this chronograph version. So I'm gonna focus in on the chronograph version for the few minutes in the beginning here. I just want to talk about this watch because it's the newest from them right now. This is the blue dial version, so you get a sort of brushed blue dial. You have these beautiful sub registers that are in a silver white. There's a little sort of surround around them as well. I'll do close-ups so you can see everything that I am talking about. Applied indices. There is lume on the hands. You get very similar hands to the Powermatic 80. There are fence post hands, and those are filled with lume. I believe that the indices do get lume on this watch. I believe they have a little bit of lume on the Powermatic 80 version, but we will do a lume shot at the end just to make sure. And then you have a minute track in that same silver white color. There is black print on there. It's a little bit of a step up from the blue portion of the dial, sort of on level with those little surrounds with those sub registers. Really well thought out dial. Excellent execution. The only thing I don't like about it is the date between the 4 and the 5 o'clock position. Of course, I could always do without the date, and the date is changed with this little pusher on the side of the case. Pretty cool, but again, I could always do without it. And I think this dial would look amazing without that little date there between the 4 and 5. My opinion, but I think it would work a lot better. The case, the bracelet, very similar to the Powermatic 80. Of course, it's thicker. So this is a chronograph. This is around 15 millimeters thick because you are getting an automatic chronograph movement, the Valjoux 7753. It's the H31. You get 60 hours of power reserve, but you can see there, 14.8 millimeters thick, and that is a thick watch. So this will wear high on your wrist. You could see that the case back actually sort of bulges out. It's a screwed in case back. You get 100 meters of water resistance, but it is very, very thick. And then of course, the bezel sort of sits straight up. It's polished. You also get a little bit of a raise on the sapphire crystal in the front, and that obviously adds to the thickness as well. All that being said, I do think it's a comfortable watch. I actually did wear it for a little while today, and I do find it to be pretty comfortable. Now, you do get these rectangular pushers. Those are polished. You have a polished chamfered edge on the case, on the top of the case. On the bottom of the case, I don't believe there is one, and then the case back is polished. There's not a lot of polish on this watch, but one of the features that I do love that they did on the Powermatic 80 version, in this beautiful bracelet, they put the insides of each link are polished. They did a great job. Everything else is brushed vertically, and I think they did a really good job with the bracelet. It's very fluid. It feels really nice. It's a very comfortable bracelet. Of course, you have that butterfly clasp, not the best. And then you get push pins or they're half pins or something like that, which, you know, is acceptable, I guess, even at this price point from a major brand, because that's just how it is. They're a little behind on these sort of things with lume and screw pins and things like that. But look at this watch. There's a lot of things you can forgive when you look at this watch. It's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. The rectangular pushers look beautiful. The crown, they put a bigger crown on here. It's a 42mm watch. That makes a lot of sense. So at the bezel, it's about 39mm is what I've measured, somewhere in that neighborhood. If I can catch it. There you go. So 38.9. Now at the case, it is around 41.5, so 41.6. The lug to lug is around 46mm if you measure it from the edge of the case to the edge. You know, the lug to lug on here, the actual lug to lug is 66.4. It'll never wear like that because you do have male end links on here, and it's going to wear like a 53mm lug to lug. So if you cannot pull that off, obviously this is going to wear large on your wrist. It'll wear large on my wrist as well. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. I'll show you in just a few seconds. 6.4mm at the crown, so a decently sized crown. Now the bracelet is thicker than the one that you get on the Powermatic 80 version, so it's almost 3mm thick, 2.8mm thick. If I measure the one on the Powermatic 80, it's a little bit thinner at 2.4mm thick. So you definitely notice the difference. So it's not something that's not noticeable. It is definitely noticeable. The Powermatic 80 version is 40mm, and it definitely wears a little bit bigger than that. It wears like a 41mm, somewhere around there. So 39.9mm. You have a very similar lug to lug on here at 50.9, so almost 51mm lug to lug on a smaller watch. And you get a very small crown on here, 4.8mm. And the thickness is a nice 11.1 on the Powermatic 80. So there are some big differences in the size between these two. So if you are able to pull this watch off the Powermatic 80 version, but barely, you will not be able to pull off the chronograph version, unfortunately, because this is a really nice watch. Let's listen to the pusher action on this watch because it is really good. It's solid. It sounds really good. It feels really good. Everything about the watch gives you the idea that it's really well made. It feels really well made. And it looks like a well-made watch. When you look at this watch, it doesn't look like a $1,700 watch. It looks like a more expensive watch in my opinion. And I think that's what they were going for. The same thing goes for the Powermatic 80, except that's a $650 watch. So it's definitely a better deal than this watch, than the chronograph version. But if you want a chronograph and you want something that looks this good, you know, you're gonna have to pay. And let's listen to the action of resetting it. Really nice. Fly back, everything lines up very nicely. And of course you could see the movement from the back. They did a good job decorating the movement. Is it the best decorated Valjoux 7750 that I have seen? No, absolutely not. But they did a really good job. And you have a custom rotor on there. It's a little bit darkened, which I love. It's skeletonized. Again, I love that. They also put quick release on the bracelet, so obviously we're gonna get some straps for this eventually. Same thing that they did with the Powermatic 80 version, and then of course they release some versions on straps, and now you can buy that on a strap as well. Beautiful, beautiful watch. $1,750. This one is a really good price of $650. This is probably one of the best bargains that you can get, and I think Tyler paid around $530 for this. Rock the Watch paid retail for this, but eventually these will probably go down. Right now, I don't think you can get them under retail, but eventually, like most TISSOT, you will be able to. Very quickly, I'm going to throw both of them on my wrist. They are not sized for my wrist because they are not my watch, but I'm not going to actually size them, but I can get them on my wrist so you can see what they look like. Today I have another integrated bracelet watch on. This is a watch that I paid $650 for. It is DLC coded. It's a GMT with an in-house movement. So if we're talking about bargain in-house watches or bargain integrated bracelet watches, there's one watch out there that cannot be beaten. That is Eterna. This is a pretty incredible watch. I paid $600 for. $600 or $650. Just an awesome watch with a pretty awesome movement. Anyway, very quickly, I'm going to throw the chronograph on my wrist. You're going to see it does wear pretty high and pretty thick. Now, this is Rock the Watch's watch, and I have a 7.5-inch wrist. You can see it looks really good from above. It's just the side profile. It does wear high when you bend your wrist like this. It sticks up, but it's comfortable. Like I said, I wore it around the house for a little while today, and it has been pretty comfortable. And the bracelet is beautiful. That thickness in the bracelet, you don't really notice it, but I think it's necessary because of the extra weight in the case and the extra thickness. You need a thicker bracelet to counteract that. So there you go. And then I'll just throw on the Powermatic 80 very quickly. It's a little bit tight on me, but I could definitely get it on my wrist, so I'll show it to you very quickly. Powermatic 80 version, I had this exact version in blue. I will be buying the green dial version because I think that one is awesome as well. I really want to get that in for review, so I'll be purchasing one of those. And there you go. I mean, the Powermatic 80 is a classic already. It has become a classic for TISSOT. This is like, it makes everybody's top 10 list for affordable watches. And there's a good reason, because it's a $650 watch that looks like it costs $2,000 and has the build quality of a $2,000 watch. Anyway, both of these watches have very, very good build quality. Excellent watches. So very quickly, I'm going to take this watch off and I'm going to charge both of them, and then we'll do a quick lume shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. Lume, not the reason why you buy one of these watches. You can see the indices fade pretty quickly. The hands a little bit better, but not much. That's really it. $1,750 for the chronograph, $650 for the Powermatic 80 version. Both amazing watches. I definitely recommend both of them. Just a couple of little nitpicks about the chronograph version. I don't really have many complaints about the Powermatic 80 version. I really do think that's a great watch for the price. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of both of these watches? What do you think of this new chronograph? Is it me, or is this just a really good looking watch? Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.